you some notes on changing rational numbers into fractions. Alright, so we're going to change rational numbers into fractions. Remember, rational numbers either end or they repeat. So we're going to look at these cases. Numbers that end or repeat. Okay, the first column is the easiest in the first case, and that's dealing with integers. So integers, I have a list started here of integers. I can't list them all, but I'm trying to show you kind of the pattern for integers, and they're really easy to write as fractions. Here's the rule. All you do is just divide by 1. So for example, if I gave you the integer 2, how do you write that as a fraction? You just write 2 divided by 1. That's it. 2 over 1. 2 divided by 1 is still 2. Another example is 13. How do you write that as a fraction? Just write 13 over 1. And last example, negative 54. How do you write that as a fraction? You just write negative 54 divided by 1. And that's it. Okay, the next column is mixed numbers. They're called mixed numbers because you're mixing a whole number with a fraction. So you have a whole number and a fraction. And you can write that as just one fraction instead of a mixed number. And here's the rule. So let's read that together. You multiply the denominator. Let's start again. You multiply the denominator by the whole number, then add the numerator. And you write this answer over the denominator. Okay, that's kind of confusing. So let me just show you. You take the denominator and you multiply it by the whole number. You take the denominator and multiply it by the whole number. Then you take that answer and add in the numerator. So you just go around clockwise. Alright, example. 2 1/3. 2 1/3. So you go around. You start here. You go 3 times 2. So you multiply there. Then you add in the top number. So you go right around. 3 times 2, add the 1. Alright, 3 times 2 is 6. Add 1 is 7. And then you just keep it the same denominator, thirds. Keep that thirds. What if there's a negative? Okay, so negative 7 1/5. Alright, I already know it's going to be a negative number. It's negative 7 1/5. So just take the negative over there. And now you do your little go around trick. So you go 5 times 7, just regular 7. Ignore the negative because you already took care of it over there. You took the negative over. So now you go 5 times 7 is 35 plus 1 is 36. 5 times regular 7 plus 1. 36 over, and since the original problem was fifths, you keep it fifths. And the last one, negative 5 3/4. Okay, I see a negative, so I just bring it over. Now I just ignore it. Don't even worry about it. So go 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times regular 5 is 20. Plus 3 is 23. And then you keep it fourths. Okay, the third column is terminating. Terminating decimals. Terminating means that it ends. So an example right here, 27.237, it ends. You have a whole number part and you have a decimal part. The decimal part turns into a fraction. And the rule is right here. Just use the place value of the last digit for your denominator. Example, 2.71. Okay, you keep the whole number part, the 2, and the 0.71 turns into a fraction. And you write 71 over, and you count your decimal places. Tenths, hundredths. So 1/10, 2 hundredths. And so you use hundredths. Next example, negative 3.3. Keep the whole number, negative 3. And the decimal is going to turn into a fraction. So the 0.3, that's going to turn into a fraction. So you write 3 over, and what do you put on the bottom? In this case, you just put tenths, because it's just going to the tenths place. So you have to know your place value. It goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, millionths, 10 millionths, 100 millionths, etc. Alright, last example for this column, negative 6.129. Alright, so keep the negative 6. Then the 129 is going to be a fraction. So 129. And then you count tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So it goes to the thousandths place. Alright, the last column is kind of a weird little trick, and it works for repeating decimals. So repeating, the ones that have a pattern. So an example, 3.74 with the repetition bar, that means 3.74, 74, 74, 74, etc. And when they repeat, here's the trick. However many repeaters there are, that's how many 9s go in the denominator. However many things repeat, that's how many 9s you use in the denominator. So here's an example. Let's say you have 2.71. Keep the whole number, 2. Sorry, let's make it 2.71 repeating. So that means 2.71, 71, 71, 71, 71, 71. Alright, you're going to use the 71, and you count how many repeaters. 7 and 1, that's 2 things repeat. 2 things repeat, so you write it over 99. And believe it or not, that works. If you type 71 over 99 into your calculator, it'll just be repeating 71, 71, 71, 71. Next example, 14.5 repeating. Keep the 14, put the 5, and since it's just one thing that repeats, you put it over 9. Not over tenths. You don't use tenths because this is repeating. Alright, last one, negative 7.241 repeating. It's going to be negative 7 and then 241 over 999 because there's 3 things that repeat, so you use 3 9s. Alright, let's flip it over. Okay, and here on the back, just reminding you, irrational numbers, irrational numbers cannot be turned into fractions. They are non-terminating, which means they never end. Non-terminating, they never end, and they never repeat. They're crazy. They're irrational. They never end, and they have no pattern, and you cannot turn them into fractions. So, example, 24.256713829563 on and on and on. There's nothing you can do with that. You just leave it. Alright, I hope these notes are helpful.